We're back on the Kyle Busch train as he suffers another disastrous weekend at Pocono. Right from day one at Pocono, things looked terrible for Busch. Just as they solved one problem, another rose and absolutely ended Busch's weekend. Just a week ago, Busch had put in a decent performance where he put his number 8 RCR in 9th place. So, going to Pocono, Busch approached the weekend with optimism. However, the weekend was completely disastrous for the number 8 team. And no matter how the weekend goes for the NASCAR drivers, we'll be here to report on the latest news. So hit that subscribe button and don't miss out on the action. Right from Saturday's practice session, Busch's car started facing issues with the steering. The driver found the steering very unstable and struggled to take the car around the 2.5-mile triangular circuit. As the car was parked on pit road, one of the crew members noticed that the car was leaking oil. The team had to immediately pull the car out of pit road to take it into the garage to fix the issue. Unfortunately, they were not able to get it ready for qualifying, and that meant Busch will have to start the race from the back of the grid. The team's owner, Richard Childress, was as surprised as everyone in the garage. "It didn't leak yesterday. It didn't leak this morning," Childress said. "Pulled it in on the line, and one of the guys seen a little leak under it. Here's a little crack. It's kind of spongy all the way through here. I don't know if that's the faulty line or what. But you can see right there where the crack came through. We're in the middle of it right now, but these cars, you have to drop everything from out under them. All the underpanel and everything. It's gonna be close, but we're gonna make it. We gotta start in the rear, so we gotta change a lot of strategy that we worked out this morning. So now you just have to go from there, and I'm sure with all our guys, we'll figure it out. Had a lot of other teams give us a hand. Some of the Hendrick guys and Trackhouse, and we all jumped in there and got it on the line. Thankfully, the crew was able to get the car ready for the race. However, this did not change the fact that Busch had a challenging task ahead of him. He had to battle it out against the entire grid to get a strong result. And he was actually doing a half-decent job of it. As the final stage began, Busch was running in 16th. With just 40 more laps to go, the race was getting ready to resume from a caution. As the green flag fell, Busch found himself defending against Corey LaJoie. But no matter what move Corey tried, Busch had blocked it. Finally, Corey had grown impatient and decided to throw a dive bomb down the inside of Busch, heading into turn 1. Predictably, LaJoie tagged the number 8 car and sent him spinning across the track. Busch hit a few other cars as he skidded across the track. Ryan Preece, Harrison Burton, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. were all taken out of the race after that incident. When asked about the incident, Busch decided to take the high road. He accepted his fate and just thanked his sponsors. At this point, it seems as though Busch has given up on the season. Harrison Burton stated how driving like an ass is important to get results in the sport, when you're driving in the midfield or at the back. "It's always erratic. That's what we do now," Burton said after a check at the infield care center. "It's just part of how we race. These cars are so close and track position is so important. You just have to kind of race like an ass, which is hard. It's hard to do and not overstep your bounds. That's just the nature of this beast. The best guys at it are really smooth and consistent while being at that level." Corey LaJoie, on the other hand, had no regrets with what he did. He knew that the other drivers were mad at him, but didn't care. "I'm sure he's mad. I'm sure there were guys that got caught up that was made, but I didn't feel like it was a bonehead move. I had a run. I got to the left rear, he blocked it twice, and the second time it spun his ass out." When asked if he would have done things differently if he had got the chance to go at it again, he said, "No, you've got to take the run," said LaJoie, who was hampered by a lap 96 pit road speeding penalty. "You know, I don't want to. I'm not the guy that wants to wreck anybody, but I think if Kyle blocks only once, then we both go around the corner and live to fight another day. But that second block, that he thought he had it covered and he didn't, was what did him in, and did a couple other guys in. But man, it's really hard. It's so freaking hard to run 19th. I mean, it's all I got, tongue hanging out. So you have to be perfect. I think Kyle and I have been racing around each other long enough. We're not going to smash into each other on purpose," LaJoie said. "We're both guys that feel like we belong, certainly him. But I mean, I'm not going to say sorry. I'm not sorry about it, because that was the thing. If the shoe was on the other foot, the exact same thing would have happened. And I think he would probably say that. LaJoie thinks risks like the one he just took are necessary to get a good result when you're battling at the midfield. Up at the front of the field, the drivers are a bit more cautious and disciplined while driving, as they have a lot more to lose, but the midfield and backfield drivers are ruthless. Here's what Busch said about the accident. "It doesn't matter what I think. You have mirrors and cameras and everything else, so you try to get in front of the run that's coming, and I was trying to get in front of that run, and sometimes some don't lift." But that's pretty much all he said about the accident. He went on to thank his sponsors after this. However, Richard Childress was more than furious with LaJoie. "That damn 7, LaJoie, is a weapon. A damn weapon," Childress said. Kyle Busch saw that move coming from Corey. Unfortunately, there was nothing he could do to avoid a collision at that moment. This incident is just added to the list of terrible things to happen to Kyle Busch this weekend. When he spoke to the media, Kyle seemed almost unbothered by his DNF at Pocono. Like I mentioned before, he's given up on his season. "Yeah, no question. I mean, definitely," Busch said about his struggles this season. "I don't think you and hem and haw or dance around that answer of that question because it's frustrating. But, there's a process here, and there's a big circle of success that's happened in this sport. There's guys at the top, then guys at the bottom. They circle back around to the top. I was at the top for a long, long time, and felt really, really good to be there. So now just in a different realm and trying to figure out how to climb that. It's way easier to fall than it is to crawl back up. So we'll just keep figuring out what those ways are." Before Pocono, Kyle was 98 points behind the cutoff for the playoffs. Now he's 102 points behind. This has made it almost impossible for Busch to get into the playoffs without a win. There are only 5 more races remaining in the regular season, and RCR has to give Busch everything they've got. The current 2024 season is already the worst season of Busch's career. Just a couple of years back, Busch was considered to be one of the best drivers on the grid. Now he's nowhere close to the top. Given that RCR seems to be on a downward trajectory, Busch will be thinking about what his options are for the future. Just a few weeks ago, Busch stated that he would not hesitate to break out of his contract with RCR if he's offered an opportunity at a better team such as Joe Gibbs Racing or Hendrick Motorsports. However, both teams have confirmed their driver lineup for the 2025 season, so it looks as though Busch will be stuck with RCR for another year. But after 2025, we could see Busch head to another team or even retire from the sport to spend time with his family. It'll be interesting to see what Busch does with RCR in the remaining races of the season and the next season. Since it looks as though Busch will most likely not make it into the playoffs this year, do you think he and RCR will be able to fix their issues and start competing at the front next year? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.